Stock, Bitcoin, and commodities recap for Monday, December 6, 2021. Let's go.
And Max, the trading agent. This is a stock trading and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the trading agent, with a Monday, December 6th recap for stocks, Bitcoin, and commodities. It is one of those days where I really don't know what's happening because I was at Keystone skiing and snowboarding today. However, the reason why I usually take Mondays off is because Turnaround Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. So, but let's get into it because there were some things that actually surprised me very much so today because just the seasonality of things and how things are looking, but we'll get into that here shortly. Let's start off with our friend Bitcoin here. You know, we talked about this downtrend breaking, and then if it ever got down to, we put this little box here. It's been there for a while. You know, if it got there, you could see why it was so important that it would be a buy. Well, we got into it. It just wasn't, the problem was it wasn't there for very long. So it just is what it is. So if you didn't get the very bottom, what can you do? We talked about if you get anywhere in the 46 to 47,000, it probably was a buy on Bitcoin. You got it. So I think you can just have to wait. You know, I'm people who know me well know I just don't chase. I mean, if I miss a move, I miss a move. I just don't chase because I don't like getting kicked back and kicked out of a trade because I was chasing. But Bitcoin looks good. I mean, I talked about this on the Discord room that nominally there was, you know, I think it was 6 billion plus, you know, kind of coin. I think it was a Coinbase, or I can't remember total what it is. But there was just a ton of coin exchanges that blew out customers, and it was $6 billion plus worth of retail customers got absolutely just kicked in the teeth. And that's, you know, when you see big money, I wouldn't even say big money, you just see lots of money get margin called and blow out on a low, it's usually the bottom. Just like at the highs, you get the shorts get blown out. This seemed like a blowout. So let's get into some stocks next because I just think Bitcoin, if you can find a dip, take a stab at it. It looks fine to me. TLT, this is one that we talked about. We get up into this blue zone. We got up there. Now we're backing off. Let's see what happens next. I apologize if it's not clear, but you can see going all the way back here. This line on the TLT is pretty important, or this area. Support equals resistance. We got up there. Friday, backed off a little bit today. Decent volume today, inside day. People know me, know what do I say about 2-day ranges. Go with. If it breaks over it, go with it. Breaks below it, go. It's going lower. Keep it that simple. In between, you don't know. Like I said, you could short this, or you could short the below of it, or if it breaks out. I mean, you got to keep the rules very binary. You don't want to put a lot of emotion into it. And again, if you study 2-day ranges and inside days, the video that I put out there in Back to Basics and How to Trade series, you understand that 2-day ranges are just ingestion days before the next move, whether it's a top or a bottom or just continuation. The dollar hit a resistance zone, and it's been chopping. So as long as it stays above the channel, I think you're good. I would keep it that simple. I don't think the dollar is going to hold up for too much longer. We're into this big resistance zone. The W pattern is complete now. I would be hesitant to buy it, but again, you can't short it because there's a lot of crap going on in the world. Turkey, Europe lockdowns, Australia lockdowns. I mean, the whole world has just gone a little bit drastic with some of these measures. So it is what it is. So you just have to trade it. The VIX. Now, this is where I hope people are paying attention. This is where I struggled with what to do with the markets, and hence why I took the day off. And not to sound arrogant, it's just I love Colorado. I love being able to drive an hour to go to the ski hills on Mondays, especially when I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the market and kind of waiting. This spike into the mid-30s, spikes into the mid-30s are typically short-term bottoms. Now, in the market, is the volatility really that high? Like, it doesn't feel like it. And when I say it doesn't feel like it, it's because look where the market is versus where the VIX was going. I tell people all the time, like, you know, look for these VIX spikes to propagate bottoms. I mean, is either the market's going to get shit can kicked harder, or that was it. We're going to continue higher. Now, I don't know. I don't know for the short term, but I think you can look for dips to buy or just watch because it's going to be tough. That's the one thing about when the VIX expands, the price action expands. I'm not really a fan of, see, let's roll into the SPY because this is what I was thinking. If the VIX spikes, we should retest. You know, the VIX holds up in the 30s. 100 days should come again. We put out that alert, watch the 50-day, 100-day. I mean, you clearly have an M top there. It's not the most prettiest M, but it is an M. And so does it mean that we're going to get much lower? This is where seasonality comes into effect. The Santa Claus rally, usually between the 5th and 8th of December, stock markets tend to bottom. And when I mean bottom, just bottom before that rally. So could we have a longer term double bottom or double top potentially in the SPY, or do we just keep rallying? I mean, Feds have got easy money. Market is incredibly difficult to play compared to when I started trading, when the markets weren't controlled by the Federal Reserve and all the money they're always pumping. But it is what it is. The QQQ, this one's interesting because I thought today we'd get down into this 100-day area. I'm really hoping for a gap fill. The Qs have been on fire, and you don't have to necessarily be the end of the bull market, whatever you want to call it, but you get these reverberations seasonally. You know, it happens in time. Well, it's December. Maybe you don't get much of a pullback, and that's it. Again, with the VIX spike, this is what's so hard about trading. You have to think about the probabilities, and you're not going to nail everything. You know, if you were in on Friday near the lows, and that might be the low. But if you did, what you could use with that is a stop, and you could trade around it. So at this point, I'm pretty neutral. I think the markets could rally back up. It seems very obvious they could, because the VIX, the VIX shouldn't. I mean, in the mid 30s, that's usually a top. You know, that's usually a top for the VIX and a bottom for the SPY. SPY is just not that far off the highs, which is crazy. You would think if the SPY was really getting beaten, it would, say run 473. I mean, I would think this would be somewhere like 425, 200-day spike at worst to get in the VIX in that level. But I guess there's a lot of complacency, a lot of people caught off guard, a lot of seasonal lack of participants because of the holidays. Let's jump into gold. I like it. I mean, I've put out alerts on this thing. I started buying it here in this compression area. It got and back test the old uptrend line. Today was a doji, nothing really. Again, at these levels, to me, it's the free money retest. I call this the zone. Just it's obvious why it's important. Let's zoom out real quick and check the monthly. You can see too the candles are compressing. We seem to be holding anywhere above 160, in the mid 160s. I think it's a no-brainer buy. The monthly chart, I will look for the breakout. It is compressing. You are making slightly higher lows, which is good on the monthly. It just takes time. Monthly charts don't happen quickly. Let's get into silver, which I'm a big fan of. I've been saying mid-20s. I mean, it's free money. No-brainer buy zone. This zone, if you zoom out, is just absolutely a dime to buy. I mean, you can see the SLV has always, this area has been important. Now, again, could we be wrong and silver get absolutely shit kicked in the teeth? Yeah, obviously. But if you want to buy somewhere that you think is a low with a tight stop with low risk and high reward, this is where you buy silver. And you don't ask questions. You just set your stops and you just let it run. Does it move up every day? Probably not. But if it holds down here on the monthly, I mean, look at this last time I went from 10 up to 27, 170%. What's 170% from 20 area? You do the math. That's not a bad return. That's somewhere in the mid to high 50s. I would take that. That's just me. That's how I think. I don't need to be right all the time on everything. I just want to buy low, sell high. GDX. This one's interesting. Another one that's interesting is I was looking at the 50-day, and this area started buying in the 31s. We got lower, and it's like, you got to be kidding me. And so now we talked about on Friday and Thursday these wicks. Even though the market was tanking, the GDX was acting pretty good. If you zoom out, You can really see why this area is important in blue. I mean, it's literally, we're lower in the IPO price of this ETF in 2006. And obviously they've upped the share amount by a ton and played some games with it, but it just seems cheap to me. I mean, again, this 30, 31 area is an absolute no-brainer to me, especially with gold if it's going to hold up. GDXJ, same kind of thing. I mean, you can see the levels here in the 40 area. It's a buy. I mean, again, you don't really have to overthink things. Could it get to the lower end of this trend line? Possibly, but I mean, you hit the 50-month. This looks ready to go. I mean, it looks ready to go. That was the big washout. Here's the bounce to the channel high. Now you're getting down to the channel lows. I mean, do you want to be perfect or do you want to make money and lose minimal amounts if you're wrong? That's kind of how you have to think about it, because that's what trading is. It's not guaranteed money. It's not short squeezes and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's usually buy and hold swing trading. That's just, when you buy low, you sell high. AG, we have a nice little double bottom here. We talked about this, you know, hitting this upper zone and then backing off. I can't believe they knocked it down this low. I was wrong. I thought it would hold the back test of the trend line. It looked like it did, and then went a little lower. Is what it is. You got stopped out. Now I put out, you know, in my weekend update, mid 10 seemed like a no-brainer. Where we close 11, not bad. Not a bad area to start nibbling. Let's get into KL and AM because they got their merger coming up in January. I like this stuff. I said this blue zone's a buy. I like how it acted today. It broke above and made higher highs and higher lows. That is a strong stock to me. If it's coming off the low, think about it. If a trend is changing, you want to see higher highs and higher lows. Same thing with AM. I like the way that looks. Just keep it real simple. SBSW, because homies in the Discord room like this stock. I told him it's a big W. Just keep it simple. Wu-Tang. I mean, it's the killer formation, the W. I love this. You know, double bottom. Keep it simple. You've got nice volume too. Here, this is what thinks. So, VPA volume price analysis. When you see a day with huge volume and double, triple the average volume, daily volume, and the price action is a gap down doji, that's exhaustion. That is puke. Somebody had to have enough bullets to stop that down move. That's how you have to think of it. Again, Anna Cooling, volume price analysis, great a book. That's, you know, I don't recommend a lot of books, and that's a great book. I think people don't understand volume and why volume matters, because in a supply demand game, volume matters. Price action can be manipulated, we all know that, but you can't fake volume. Head and shoulders, PAAS, left shoulder, right shoulder, head, I like it. Looks good to me. Letter X. This one's been a tough one in that it's a big W pattern, but I've told people once it started pulling back, you can start nibbling in the 23s. I really liked it when it, you know, filled that gap in the 2290 area. This area right here is a nice little buy point. If you really want to be chicken little, just wait for it to break the downtrend. If it breaks the downtrend, it's going higher. Let it compress. This thing can get kind of crazy. If you study the past on it, you know, it kind of goes everywhere it wants to go. VALE, this is Scott's special. We talked about this is like this sick little W pattern after a monster down move. Now it's making higher highs off the 50-day. This is the kind of shit you need to be watching, because this is a stock that's acting really well in a shitty market. That means that overcoming lots of odds of negativity in the market, and it's acting well. That's a red flag for you to pay attention to. That means something's going on with this stock. Someone had their ability to accumulate a stock so much that it literally can ignore the market. That's telling you something. That's like the same thing when you see a bottom in the stock market after a bear market. You see certain stocks that are just rallying even though the market's getting crushed. It's because that's what's going to lead coming out. This looks like it's leading coming out. Keep it real simple. Let's get into some of the tech names real quick. I'll try to speed this up. I apologize. AMD, we said if you were selling up here, you were loving life. Absolutely loving life. Josh Dubbs shorted this. He has a really good trade going on this thing. He took most of his money off and let 20% ride. He's going to trade it. Easy money. I mean, again, fundamentals are great when you're pumping a stock, but the fundamentals don't matter when a stock hits technical issues. Let's just keep it that simple. Apple did put an alert on this. We said, watch the upper channel in red. We hit it. Now backing off. This is where you take your profits, people. This is, you know, upper trend lines, upper channels. You got to take profits because it clearly has mattered many times before. So why would you ignore the past? Again, could it have gone higher? But your risk reward starts dropping after Apple goes from 147 post earnings to 170. That's a solid move for this stock. It's gonna pull back, take the money, come back later, trade it. MicroStrategy, this thing has been all over. I need to probably brush up on the news on it. It broke the trend line today, but then look at it. It's just a doji. Exhaustion, gap down, doji. I'm a big fan of gaps at end of trends. You see gap up at the end, gap up at the end, gap up at the end, gap down at the end, gap down at the end. Gaps after a prolonged move show exhaustion, and that's all you really need to know. You don't need to know everything about everything, but that's one of the things you look for. Is at the tops, everyone chases in, and at the bottoms, everyone pukes up and gives up. I would be watching that. That's an interesting setup. I don't know for sure if that one's good to go, but I mean, I probably need to read a little bit about it. But RIVN, let's next. That MicroStrategy, keep it on the radar. RIVN, what did we say? This 106 area. Well, we went below it, and then look today. Higher low, higher high. That's bullish to me. I think that thing has a nice, I think it could pop 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 points. Easy. I mean, that thing moves. Just keep it that simple. Man, Roblox. I hate to say it, I told you so many times, but this stock, I said, people, when you hit the 2 times range, you get the fuck out. You just get out. And you don't even like overthink it. And we got the 2 times range after a powerful move. Went from 76 up to 140. 2 times. Double the money. Pulling back. Well, broke the primary trend. I mean, it's broken everything. And it's backing up. 20-day, it broke below it today. Could it bounce? Yeah. But keep in mind, after a stock tops, you just let it run. And it takes time to bottom. Like, if you expect V bottoms, you're high. You're just absolutely high. Like, this is the kind of crap that probably follows. Or this is what's happening. Big blow off, and then boom, 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 boom. It takes time. Big moves need to digest before they can go big again. Unless they get bought out, I think this stock is dead in the water for a short term. I like the company. I think they're doing great. Every kid's blowing out on them. Tesla, this is the same thing. I don't have the fibs on there. I took them off. Why did I take them off? I know why, because I forgot to do this. I think the move's over. People probably don't want to hear that, but I think Tesla is done for the year. It's made its run. The easy money has been made. I would look for this 800s before I would even sniff thinking about buying. You took your profits, you moved on. Again, opportunity cost. If you stay in Tesla and you miss out on something like VALE, gold, miners, Bitcoin, all these other things, you have to remember there's an opportunity cost. And holding stocks that aren't performing well, it doesn't benefit you. HODL, all that bullshit, no, you have to trade stocks. Professionals trade stocks. Elon's selling his stock. It tells you something. Keep that in mind. Good old PENN. This one has been really tough for me because I really, 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 really liked it. I mean, not because of anything about porn, but look where it's come from. You were at 140s down into the 50s. It's in a buy zone. That blow off was huge volume. It feels like a bear trap down here. Bear's shorting it. It's getting super choppy. I like it here. You can buy it with a tight stop. Just keep it that simple. Like, just buy it. Have a tight stop. If you're wrong, the market tells you you're wrong. You can always get back in. EXPI, EXP Realty, the parent company of who I work for, man, this filled the gap and is holding this 33, 34, 35 area. I like it. It's come down from 55 down to 35. 40% haircut. This company's doing really well. It's not insider trading. It's all public knowledge. Everyone knows they're doing well. Let's end on the oil names real quick because I apologize. This is running longer than I wanted. We said XOP, watch that, 100-day, this little choppy area. Seems to be holding up okay. That's a decent, you got some decent action down here, maybe shakeout. Just, it looks okay to me. It's channeling up. This is normal kind of shit. You wave patterns. Now, it's not perfect waves. People love to go deep into the wave pattern, but that looks interesting to me. And ended on ExxonMobil because this is the king of the oil patch. 100, 200 day. Man, I hope people were there to watch that because if you got that, you got in, boom. Now, the confirmation is to break the downtrend, get over the 50-day, get over the 20-day. If you bought down here, you have room to watch. All right, Dan Max, EXP Realty. I appreciate everybody. Please subscribe, like, share. I will continue to do videos as long as there's demand. If you don't think I know what I'm talking about, come tell me. Come to the Discord room. Tell me I'm an idiot. I love to, talk stocks because I've been doing this a long time. So I appreciate everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content. Also smash the like button, share with your friends, and add a comment.
there's a topic or stock you'd like me to give you insight about, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks.